Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Let's make sure my device don't get.
Hi, Victor. I can hear you. This is Sally speaking.
Oh, hi. Are you Sally?
Yes, nice to meet you.
How did I? Is my voice coming through fine?
Yep, yep, I can hear you.
Okay, I need to. I actually have two devices opening up here, and then somehow Twitter made the decision that they can't. You can't turn off the voice from one of the device. So I'm trying to move it further down away from me so that it doesn't get echo.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah. Is Todd joining soon?
Yep,
Yeah, cool. That's the
let
best
me,
way.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So usually what we do is that we will have the company account there, and then we'll also have an individual speaker account because our friends and community members found out that it feels more personal. So this is a good idea. And if you happen to have a personal account, please feel free to join as well.
Yep, sounds good. Unfortunately, I don't have a personal account, but I will be managing the Dynadot one.
Yeah, nice. That's good. Yeah, and then of course, if any teammates, any friends of Dynadot, community members of Dynadot want to join, feel free. Our Twitter space is very casual, 1 hour. We usually invite people on stage, and so that they can interact directly with the speaker. So yeah, I shared some notes and things that we prepare that we
Mhm.
want to ask, and then I did some digging. And yeah, the story of Todd is amazing. The story of Dynadot is amazing. We enjoyed the partnership with you guys, and then we also love to learn and learn more about how you folks believe in get started and believe in the kind of future that we're building together.
Yeah, sounds great. Let me send Todd a message and make sure he's on. He can make it on or can get on.
Yeah, does Todd do a lot of Twitter Space?
No, this is his first Twitter space, so uh,
First Twitter Space. That's nice. We're very honored that would be the first Twitter Space of Todd. I did check. He was interviewed by multiple places, and then he did an AMA on a forum of with domainers. So
Mhm.
I have no. I'll be very. I wouldn't be surprised that he is very used to the kind of interactions he's getting. But yeah, I'm very honored that he's joining Namefi Space as his first time for this new paradigm.
Yeah, super exciting. I'm also new in the Web3 space, so I'm excited to hear what Todd and you have to say about this exciting partnership.
Yeah. How long have you been in Dynadot, and where are you based? If you mind, if I you mind, I ask.
I've been at Dynadot for about a year and a half, and I'm based in Toronto.
Toronto. Oh, yeah. I think there's some presence in Toronto of Dynadot, right? I think the
Mhm. Yes.
engineer who have been supporting us, the
Yeah.
engineering lead,
Mhm.
is in Toronto, right? Do you have an office there?
Yes, we do have an office. Yeah, Fred is based in Toronto as well.
Right. And how big is the team now?
In total, I think we are around like 140 globally.
Wow. Wow. That's a huge team. And Todd. Hey, Todd is here. Cool. Um, yeah, so Hey Todd, good to meet you. I'm chatting here with Sally.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi,
Hey, how are
Todd.
you?
Hey, Victor. How's it going? Good. I'm doing well.
Yeah, glad to meet you. This is so nice. I've been chatting with Sally. I couldn't believe, but we're here. You have been a legend. I've checked, and then you've done a bunch of interviews and AMN before. And but according to Sally, to our best knowledge, this is your first time on Twitter Space. We're very honored.
Yeah, that's right. I joined Twitter maybe about a year ago, and I just kind of wanted a way to communicate um, with our customers more directly. I mean, of course, we have newsletters, we have our website, but with Twitter, what I like is like people can send me feature requests, they can send me bugs just directly. And I like that kind of direct interaction.
Exactly. I think this was unthinkable before internet exists, and actually, even before Web2 time, I think it's very hard for you to imagine that your favorite product, their founder will be there being your customer support. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, yeah, actually, that's what how I was surprised because I have a lot of respect with Dynadot. I know you guys are an OG, but also very innovative, always rolling out new features and new initiatives, kind of registrars. But I was surprised that I was able to actually connect with you directly. Of course, we later met in person, but starting from the first day, you were very active on Twitter. You were sharing things on tweet about your team, about your life. And then we're kind of the fact that we can build a personal relationship through Twitter directly as like as user to customer is amazing. As user to founder is amazing. So yeah, I try to look up that, and then now that I'm building Namefi and um, with our teams are I'm also trying to kind of put the practice that you did a little bit, like trying to be on Twitter, trying to be there for our customer to get direct feature requests and bug. So thanks for being an inspiration to say the least.
My pleasure. And it was actually really nice meeting you. I think we met face to face at ICANN Puerto Rico, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of the other uh, thing I really like is just going to conferences, meeting people face to face. Even though, we're in the age of the internet and everything is online now, I think nothing can replace like a face-to-face interaction or voice-to-voice interaction. So there's some things that you just can't get over text.
Yeah, exactly. And for everyone else who's here, thank you for coming to another Namefied space. We like to think of it as a way to connect with our community, bring our wonderful, awesome guests to Namefied community. And a lot of times we get inspirations about questions, feedbacks from the audience as well. Like always, Namefied space is a place for conversations. It doesn't meant to be a one or two person show. It's actually we'll talk about one man show later because that's one of a major journey and legacy of Todd. But this Twitter space itself is meant to be a conversation, a live conversation. So as always, please raise your hand if you want to join on stage. And for anyone who has been here, I would send out invites and feel free to hop on. You don't have to ask questions. You don't have to speak. You can remain a speaker. But whenever you have questions, we would like to be able to let you to unmute you and let you start asking. I want to say hello to our good friends and like our of one of a few of our best friends in a community, Hedgehog, known as the Namefi song author. Actually, we should play our Namefi song. We also see Todd Ryan, very someone who I really respected for running a lot of conversations about domain and domainers. Um, derivatives or RWA link, one of our or the one of our top or the top customers of Namefi, who has been nothing more than like nothing less than awesome to us. Um, and Mike Seiger, I also see you here, the OG of the industry, educator, builder himself. Like I read a lot of Mike Seiger's tweet, and a lot of times we are honored to have you in the audience as well. Zero X Max, our good old friends. He's like amazing. He actually doesn't speak English, and then he was using translator to listening in to use our product. This is a time when we felt very humbled and try to build. So having you all in the space in the audience is it make me just feel warm. Todd and I connected on Twitter, and then we also met in person. I have a lot of questions to ask Todd, of course. Todd know that I send a bunch of questions. But if everyone you want to be on stage, please do. This is meant for a conversation. Well, Todd, if you don't mind, I will start playing a Namefi song just one time, and to officially kick off this conversation.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
So let me bring my device. It's lighting up the digital skies. Revolution in the domain, watch the skies. NFTs and the fire new ways to monetize on the blockchain. Where our future lies. Namefi is the call. Domains on chain. New internet games.
Very cool song.
Like, alrighty. Alrighty, thank you everyone. You're in Namefi space with Todd. So allow me to say a little bit introduction about Todd. Todd is a visionary founder and CEO of Dynadot, a leading domain registration and management platform established in 2002. That was 4 years after the ICANN was established, and he was basically one of the pioneers in the space, starting from humble beginnings in the a spare bedroom. Todd's entrepreneurs entrepreneurial spirit drove him to build Dynadot into a robust company that now manages over 4.5 million domains and employed more than 130 people globally. And under his leadership, Dynadot has become known for its user-friendly interface, commitments to customer service, which we chatted about just now, and popularity among domain investors. The company has experienced explosive global growth in recent years, tripling size over the past 5 years. And today, we like to be very excited to celebrate Dynadot's recent partnership with Namefi. This collaboration has significantly expanded Namefi's offering of TLD coverage through Dynadot's help, and with improving price structures and also support of premium domains. Todd's approach to business emphasizes organic growth, customer experience, and strategic partnership. And we look up to him, and we look up to the journey of Todd and Dynadot. So please join me in welcoming Todd Han to discuss the partnership and his journey and his vision. Thank you, Todd.
Well, thank you, Victor, for such a warm introduction. And it truly has been a journey, 22 years in the domain business. I still remember getting that first order in my spare bedroom, jumping up and down with excitement. You know, it was $7.99 for a domain back then, for a .com.
Oh, what year was that?
That was 2003.
2003. The first order, $7.99. You get an order from someone you know or someone stranger?
It was a stranger, and they found us just because ICANN links to all the registrars. So I think they just went down the list and found us somehow.
Wow, 2003. Back then, finding a registrar is hard. Someone need to be smart enough and tech savvy enough to find from ICANN's link, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, back then there wasn't an ICANN fee, the 18-cent ICANN fee. I think 2002, I don't remember if Google was there yet. It may have been before Google even.
I think Google was founded in 1998 and then general availability in 1999. So that was kind of right after the big crash of internet bubble. People thought. So I think before that, internet was like what they call like cyberspace, right? And then only a few people know domains. Only a lot of people were using IP addresses to connect between computers, right? And then in 2002-01, Google basically get out of Silicon Valley, but still it's very hard to use. And internet it's basically early for internet. People didn't even know whether you can build businesses on internet. And you started Dynadot in 2002. Of course, it was quite a journey. But can I ask you a question? I think a lot of people will be interested. How did you pick the name in the first place of Dynadot?
The Dyna part of Dynadot, that is short for dynamic.
Yeah.
And dot is just shorthand for website. So it's kind of like dynamic website. And kind of the original vision was just to make it really easy to get a domain name and build a website. So that's where Dynadot comes from.
Oh, so it's very dynamic, and there is a dot. I love the name. It's very, very easy to remember. Did you still remember it? Was there any other candidate names or, yeah.
Yeah, I had a whole list of names. And in fact, I think we incorporated under a different name, iName Pro, and then we later changed it to Dynadot before we launched. And even back then, a lot of the good domains were taken. So I remember even back then, like searching, I think I was using maybe GoDaddy at the time, just searching through like hours and hours searching for a name. Even back then, so many good domains were taken.
Yeah, and just finding like finding names that's available and good is hard by itself, right? Like I was curious where you got the domain registered, and you mentioned it was GoDaddy, right? Like I don't know, Mike Siger is in the audience. Like one day maybe we'll ask like the chain of registration, like who did GoDaddy or register their domain from, right? Like maybe everyone go back to uh, John Pastel. Um, yeah.
Yeah, the chain has to go back to we use GoDaddy. GoDaddy probably use Network Solutions, something like that.
Yeah. And a lot of people probably love Dynadot, but not necessarily know your journey, right? Like it began, as you mentioned, from your mother's, like you were building a website for your mom's vacation home in Mexico. Was I correct? Or was it like an
uh,
Airbnb kind of business for your mom?
yeah, exactly. She has a house in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and she rents it out. And like she heard about this thing called the internet, and she wanted a website. And so, of course, she asked me. And so I learned HTML, and I got a domain for her and built her website.
Wow. Did you
Yeah,
do you remember what was the domain for her vacation home?
yeah, it was. It's still there actually. It's called villamarbella.com, VILLAMARBELLA.com. It's still there.
VMI. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. 20 22 years, right?
Yeah.
22 years decentralized Airbnb attempt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wish like Brian Chesky will know this, and maybe if one day he joined Namefi Space, we would tell him that that someone validate that idea even before Airbnb exists. And domain matters, right? Like finding an easier and resonating domains is like the first thing if you want to build independent websites.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I remember like taking photos of the house from my mom and uh, getting like emails of like happy customers, putting it on the site. It was actually a really fun project. I enjoyed it. And that's kind of how I knew I kind of liked the internet and liked websites. And from there is kind of, I think that's kind of how I got the idea to do Dynadot, is just that whole experience building a website for my mom.
Wow, that's amazing. And I remember like my first time trying to build something, and then I think it's also some kind of hobby or family project. We didn't launch that into public, but it was using like Dreamweaver, and then back then it was like the one of the popular website builder. And then 20 years since then, a lot of things changed, right? Many new, better website building staff was there and things, but let's dive into the business side of this thing. Like you started Dynadot helping your mom, and you realized you were inspired this could help other people. For the first 3 years, you were the only one um, employees as in one of the interview that you respond. Was that did I understand? Did I remember that correctly? How was that doing? How was that doing and feeling?
Yeah, you're correct. I was the only employee for the first 3 years. So I did the engineering, I did the customer service, I did the accounting, I did the web design, everything. And so I even remember like going on vacation with my wife, and like I'd have to find Wi-Fi everywhere to check customer service emails, like that really, I just remember her being really annoyed by that. And
Likewise, fist bump to you.
yeah, exactly. Uh, but yeah, then after 3 years, we started to get some traction. And I remember getting an office in San Mateo, which is near our house and hiring our first employees.
What was the moment like? What how did you like? I think there would be multiple stage when you start to feel the tractions and then the product market fit, right? A lot of course, I'm in this journey as well, and of course, it applies to people doing this different kind of business. What was the moment when you felt the click? Like, here's the right direction, and also like, what was the moment it was like, it's gonna work, and it's working? Like, what was that? Those like specific moments you remember?
Mm, I think for domain names, it was always clear that there was a demand for domain names, which is both good and bad. It's good in that you don't have to create the market, as everyone knows what it is. They know
Hmm.
that they need it, right? But what's bad is that there's a lot of competitors. Um,
Right.
I mean, there's probably hundreds of registrars, maybe even thousands of registrars in the world, and we're all competing for the same customer base. So as far as for Dynadot, I think I do remember going to a conference in the early days uh, when we only had like 20,000 domains, and I was talking to another registrar. I think it was someone from Enom back then, and he was like, 20,000? How could you survive with 20,000? And I think Enom back then already had like 6 million or something.
Mm.
Um, but I think I don't know if there's like a single tipping point. It was just kind of a really gradual growth, steady growth over the years. And sometimes I look at our domains under management chart, and it's just nonstop steady growth. There wasn't like a huge revelation or a huge tipping point. It just like year by year, we kept on growing by 10, 20, 30%, something like that.
It just continuously grow. I had a yeah, I had a honor to met Paul Stahura, who was the founder of Enam. I believe Enam was acquired by Tacos, right? Later,
Yeah, Enom was
two
acquired by
cows.
two cows. Yep, yep.
Yeah, sorry, I pronounced it wrong. Like,
It's okay. It's okay.
uh, yeah. So I think when you mentioned like 3 years afterwards, you started to hire the first person. That must be some kind of signal where either you said like we have enough growth, we need more people, or we can't sustain just my own efforts. We need more people, more hands here. Um, what was that kind like? How did you decide to expand and start it? And what's the scale up story?
Yeah, I mean, a registrar, even though it seems kind of simple, like you just kind of send a request to the registry and then get the response and then print it out on a web page, right? The
Mm.
availability. There's actually quite a bit of complexity behind the scenes. For one thing, we're connecting to a lot of different registries. I mean, back then there was only ComNet, org, Info, Mobi. There was a lot fewer. Now there's like hundreds of backends, right? So just that
Mhm.
connection code, we have a whole team just working on that code just full time. And so I think I realized pretty early on that the back end complexity was going to be more than what one person could handle. So our first couple hires were actually engineers. And then as the business grew, we started hiring customer service. I don't think it was until maybe year 7 or 8 that we started hiring a marketing team.
Wow. So the first thing you added was engineer, but back then you were still serving the customer by yourself, right? And then tooling back then was not even available, I guess. Like we just introduced intercom, and then I had like direct connections with customer. By the way, for everyone who's in the room, Namefi just launched Intercom, framelessly show advertising. But how did you do customer service? And I think the question is connected to one question I want to ask, because you mentioned the competitors. There were a lot of competitors, right? But yet you started that Dynadot. What was the gap you see in the registrar? Like, what do you think that that you can serve in the aspect you can serve customer better than what other registrar were providing back then? What was that?
Well, I still remember, using the other registrar, which I will not name, and just thinking, I just don't
Not
really
good,
like
Addy.
no comments. And I just remember not liking their control panel and thinking, because I have a software engineering background, so I was just thinking, I could write a better control panel than this, And so, of course, I was pretty young and naive, and I didn't know anything about running a business and how, engineering is just a part of it, right? There's so much that goes into running a business. So I just kind of, even without writing a business plan, I just kind of jumped in. Sometimes when you don't know that much, it's actually better. Like, if I had known now, like how hard it is to run a registrar, I don't know if I would have done it, to be honest.
We just went through that one more time. Actually, we
Okay,
went
yeah.
from Google domains as our registrar to Amazon, and then now we're adding Dynadot. We were like, the experience was not smooth. To GoDaddy's or early pioneers credits, like, they were dealing with network solutions, right? Probably they were doing some kind of very preliminary very basic kind of web UI, and then probably a lot of them are actually command lines or API calls that doesn't even have good documentations. Yeah, so of course a better control panel is what we offer. Um, what else? Like, what was the bigger pictures of what's missing out there? Is that, yeah.
Well, obviously the control panel, and I think back then there was only one other like discount registrar, which was GoDaddy, and so we were kind of just before GoDaddy. I don't know if you remember, but domains used to cost like $30 a year. There was only
Wow.
Network Solutions, Register.com. There were only like 3 or 4 registrars, and then GoDaddy came along and just kind of just pioneered the discount registrar space, and we kind of just followed in their coattails a little bit. And there were some other ones similar to us back then. There was a registrar called Registerfly. They later went bankrupt. Um, so it was kind of just like to give another option besides GoDaddy was kind of our thinking.
Oh, because back then it was GoDaddy was the major player, and then other was not providing much better service, so you were trying to be there, and then build a better registrar for people.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of I realized early on that the discount registrar space was going to have the most growth, and so that's kind of where the direction we went.
Yeah, it's hard to think about that, because today GoDaddy seems to be the expensive one, right? And then everyone else is, if you do a little bit more research, you will find, of course, Dynadot, and Namefi is trying to provide cheaper price as well, especially for tokenized version, and then a bunch of other registrar that I respect are providing of good pricing here. So pricing is absolutely, and then better, easy to use control panel is another thing. By the way, I see a few familiar faces, and then the distinguished guests in the room. We have Marcus or iHeart Domain. It's a good old friend, or what I like to call the soul founder, who inspired Namefi, the sole founder of Namefi, who inspired Namefi to exist, among a few others that did dinner. And then Gary Palmer Jr., who is a major figure in the ENS community that drives the conversation. And I happen to see Derek, who builds remote jobs in the room. So thanks for being here. And by the way, our friends of Dynadot, you are co-hosts. Please do invite people from Dynadot community on stage. If you see familiar faces, good old friends. This is meant to be a conversation. Please feel free to join. I'll send out invites. If you have questions for our distinguished guest, Todd, please raise your hand. We'll soon open up the floor for audience questions. One other question I have for Todd coming back is, do you have a few tips for founders? I think the context is that I read the One Man Show interview by DN Journal, and Todd mentioned that the journey he began with. So I think a lot of people definitely want to um, be founders, and then our audience, a lot of them are investors, but also a lot of people started out finding a domain because they want to find something, they want to build some new business, they want to build some new creativities there. So what's your tips and suggestions of how to start something new, or building teams and companies in general?
Well, I've only built one company, Dynadot. Um, what I started with was just a skill that was really good, which is I'm a very good programmer, and so that gave me a lot of advantages in starting a company because I could build the website and the technology myself. Um, and then after that, in terms of like building a team, I think that for any sort of tech company, like the people are the most important thing. They kind of in their minds, in their brains, is basically the entire company. Like we don't have a factory, we don't have stores. Like we are our people pretty much. And so I've always tried to structure the company so that people would stay for us for a long time. Um, it takes years for someone to fully understand their job within Dynadot, and for someone to fully understand our business. And so I always want people to stay with us long term. And I guess ways that we encourage that is we give people more independence. Like we don't micromanage them, or we try not to. We try to provide like competitive benefits. I think we give 20 PTO days a year, which is more than most companies. We have like an annual retreat to do team building. Like we do a lot of stuff to kind of to build a team, basically.
Yeah, one thing that I was very impressed that you specific says you believe a knowledge-based company. In this case, when you said the company that doesn't carry factories and like stores and stuff, um, a knowledge-based company should be owned by its employees, and because the whole company is the brain of your employees. That's amazing. Yeah, and then you started out with that philosophy. 20 years from now, you're still building towards that. That's very, very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have a little interesting of a corporate structure. Like we don't have any investors or VCs or bankers or anything. So we're able to kind of chart our own course, so to speak. We can make long-term decisions. and we don't have to kind of worry about like it's not always true, but sometimes like an investor, they want to exit, right? And so they'll kind of push you to do certain things to give them a better exit, but we don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a very good way to see that, and then the kind of benefit to keep Dynadot, the way, the philosophy Dynadot want to be and stay. Yeah. What's the last question from the host, and before we open up to the general audience would be, what's on top of your mind in terms of direction and strategy for Dynadot for the future, let's say 3 to 5 years, the near or medium future?
Well, I think one of the key advantages of Dynadot is our product team. We have about 100 engineers working, nonstop, building features, adding stuff to our site. And I think we're just going to keep on pushing that advantage. We can build products very quickly. When customers want to change, we can add it very quick. Like I'm on Twitter, right? And I joined last year, and I think a lot of people ask me on Twitter, like, "Hey, this is not working," or "This is this. I want this feature," and like I just tell the engineers, like just me to the engineers directly. I just tell them, "Hey, do this or fix this, whatever." So we're just going to keep on pushing that advantage. Like we're going to build a registrar that our customers want.
Yep, build a product, build a registrar that our customer wants. Alrighty. Yeah, thanks, Todd. Any questions from the audience? I know that we have Vida, Australia here. We have a Hedgehog on the space, on the stage. And everyone else, if you want to ask questions or join the conversation, please do raise your hand. I will invite you on the stage. Go ahead, our good friend Hedgehog.
Hi, GM, can you guys hear me?
Yes, very well, loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, to start, thanks for having me here, Victor, and nice to meet you, Todd. It is an honor to be in this space amongst you, smart individuals, right? Visionaries, pioneers. It is an honor. Now, a lot of information was said, and I'm always hungry to learn more for knowledge, right? And appreciate the knowledge in here. It's a lot of alpha. In terms of a question, let's see. This is my first question. Basically, what inspired the partnership between Namefi and Dynadot, and how do you envision this collaboration will benefit both brands? Todd.
Well, I'm really excited to work with Namefi. I personally am very excited about the blockchain. I recently bought some Bitcoin myself for the first time about 6 months ago. And Dynadot has recently added payment through crypto. So you can pay for domains using Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc. And as far as working with Namefi, I'm just excited about combining domains with the blockchain. I think there's a lot that can be done that you can't do traditionally. For example, DeFi, automated escrow, authentication. So, and that's all technology that I think enhances both products, domains, and blockchain.
Indeed. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, I do believe we are still kind of early. Blockchain tech is still early, and we may be in a niche space, right? And adding blockchain tech to traditional domaining, it's still kind of new to a lot of, I guess, people, let alone domainers, right? But we're in this space. I've been in this space for a couple of years now, and I mean, I see the vision. I see the future, just like the CEO of Chainlink, Sergey Nazarov, right? And I like what he quotes, and this is not verbatim, but essentially he says that either you join the train now, or you'll stay siloed, and eventually you're gonna want to join, right? So that's awesome that you guys entered the space, and it's a start, little by little. And I mean, I like the partnership.
Thank you.
I'm really glad that you like the partnership. We like to think that Namefi is trying to make it easier and better, find a better way to allow you to trade domains, and for DeFi and future internet. Collaborating with Dynadot give us a lot more capability to provide better TLD coverage, better registrar support, and better pricing, and premium domain name support. I think a lot of times, when we begin, we will only do whatever it works, and now we're in a mode that we are gonna fill the gap. And I think with Dynadot support, with this partnership, whoever wants to build get domains tokenized can have a lot more options in their TLD selections, and many more. So that's why we're super excited and grateful, actually, that we were able to partner with Dynadot.
Indeed, and I'm glad you guys did. And this is just the beginning, Victor and Todd. And I mean, I honestly, I can't wait to see what the future holds, right? Because eventually, I see Web 2 and Web 3 just as it is now. Where it's like in hybrid mode, and eventually, right? I see Web 2 using or chain service, or I don't know if the correct word is implementing chain services, right? And for a lot of many different reasons, especially for um, uh, for the verifiable chain of things. So, like an example would be like right now, traditionally on Web 2 domains, right? If anyone could just list a domain name on, let's say, on Dan, right, and it could be fraud or whatever. But if we had a verifiable way on chain, like that would just change the game. And I see eventually, I see the future where like tokenization, or the chain will be like something like hidden, where people are just gonna use the services as they're using the services now, and they're not really gonna put a lot of focus on the tech. But I see the future where the blockchain is going to be implemented everywhere. I mean, look at what's going on with PayPal and Venmo, right? They're using ENS services, and I think that's pretty awesome. So anyone who's integrated their .coms with ENS, they can essentially send and receive crypto where with their .coms, right, or their .nets and their .orgs, and I'm just excited.
Exactly. I really love that. I think we talk about how Todd started the Dynadot in 2002. I like to think myself as a student of history. And we've been through this. I think internet is probably one of the most most important innovation in human history. And it came through multiple stages, multiple phases. Back then, everyone has to go to something like AOL, or people old enough to use CompuServe and Prodigy. That's like, I didn't live in US back then, but that's what I learned people used. You have to connect to very specific network. Microsoft was trying to provide MSN, as a private company network, as a subscription. And you have to go through that before you can use internet. Publishing things or sending emails have to go through that. And now with blockchain, we were able to own things. You can still own things without blockchain back then, but like AOL, Prodigy, CompuServe, you have to depend on things that how you can depend on platforms how you can own things. And with blockchain, we're able to let you own things and send assets just like an email, right? And then that's what I'm really excited about. And then we can a lot of other collaboration approach can happen as well, because you can have email, you can have group emails, you can have automated emails, you can have email sending and other platforms email stuff. And we envision this to happen for ledgering and transactions and assets owning as well. And that's why we're building it. For example, even today, as we were in this domain space, transferring domain, even if it's a digital asset, after you switch another registrar, you'll have to wait for 60 days, right? Todd probably know this firsthand, starting from 2002 and all the way today. You have to wait for 60 days before you can initiate another transfer between registrar. That's just to prevent double spending and prevent dispute of ownership. And if you imagine that, like people were complaining, Bitcoin transfer was 10 minutes, Ethereum was 12 seconds. Now we're seeing that the alternative was like 60 days for domain transfer or international money payments, 1 or 2 days, sometimes 3 days for Swift, right? Like with advancing how you can pay, how you can transact, and how you can own assets 100 times better. And that's why I personally feel very excited about this future. Just like how you said, if you are in the future, you will be there. Everyone will join you. If you are like stay and detached, not like joining it, you can still do it. But over time, when other people goes there, you will feel siloed. You will feel lonely, and then you will be missing out. So we want to be the bridge. We kind of help bridge the domain space, the domainers, who is already a pioneer, like for owning digital assets, into the kind of future experience of owning digital assets. And then with Todd's help, with Dynadot's help, we're exposing them to more kind of assets. And this is very important to our vision. I have a question for you. I think I asked Todd, like, what did he see the gap of good registrars he wanted to be? I want to ask you, Hedgehog, and everyone who is a customer or who is using or registering domains, investing domains, what do you think is important for registrars, both Web3 and Web2, to provide? Like, what do you think is we're not doing good enough? What do you see as an opportunity for us to provide a better service to you?
Well, I guess pricing matters, right? We already know that some registrars charge a little bit more, right? But I guess pricing, it's a factor. But obviously, we just want a registrar, or let's say we're using the internet, right, to register domains and whatnot. We just want the website to work properly, of course. But since we're talking about in this case about an on-chain registrar, right? Well, so far, Victor, you guys been adding some great features, and I've seen the improvements over time. Like the recent one was you guys, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys added besides the partnership and more the TODs and CISA TODs, you guys, I remember we had a phone meeting maybe a month or a month and a half back, and I remember asking about adding the ability to forward our domain names to, let's say, another .com, because I remember the option wasn't there, and voila, that option is there, which is pretty awesome. And just keep adding features. And I understand we're early, but that's how you start, right? You just continue to improve, and so far, we already know that tokenized.coms is on chain, just it's fast to transact, right? Even minting, like you guys are pretty good when you mint .com. I mean, I pretty much receive them and pretty quickly, right? And yeah, you guys just added also. I like the whole AI parking that you guys have on the domain names. And as I stated before, it would be awesome. It's something similar to what Stake Web is doing, right? Where if possible, and I mean this would be like awesome, and it can change the game of how the traditional paid parking works, right? Because it's kind of like boring, and then anyway, so like if you can like add like affiliate marketing or paid parking, right, to the services, or something, because that would be great, right? Like who wouldn't want to get a little bit of money from their park domains? But Victor, you guys have you guys continue to amaze me, amaze us. So just continue doing great work, and same to you, Todd. Like this partnership it's only the beginning.
I'm glad that you say that. I'm glad that you like our redirect URL features. I'm glad that you like a bunch of others. And by the way, it's a lot of features that we look up, and we look up to the existing players and we respect them. We're catching up. I don't even think that the features itself is to what extent how innovative. We're just trying to make sure that we capture the gap and prioritize features that you want the most, despite our engineering capacity limits. But I also want to say that there are things that we do want to be very, very innovative and then bring to you that you couldn't easily do in the prior days. For example, one thing that we will do next week, join our Namefi Twitter space, because we're gonna talk about this, how Namefi can allow your domain be used for monetization in decentralized ads protocol. So of course you can still do it in, let's say, Google inventory, Google Ads, display ads, AdSense, I think, and then a bunch of other ads inventory. But there's also a new way to do them. And then if you have a really, really big domains and owned by multiple people by shares, I assume some people would like to do it in the future. You can also distribute those ads in revenue through your shares very conveniently. So we're enabling new way of owning things. I'm glad. Thank you for asking. Please keep inspiring us. Please keep asking for features that you want, and we will do our best to prioritize them.
Thank you, Victor. I'm so happy to hear that. And look, I have more questions, but I want to let everybody else in here ask questions. I've already asked a few, and I appreciate that. And again, what an honor.
Thanks, Hawk. I also want to give shout out to Todd. I think a new feature coming up on Dynadot I noticed was like AI building a website, right? Like Todd, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, we are doing a lot with AI. We have, I'm not sure it's launched yet, but we are working on AI generation of web pages for our site builder. Also, we have email hosting with AI generation of emails. We have a domain appraisal tool that is AI powered, domain suggestion tool that is AI powered. So we're going all in on AI. It's, in my opinion, it's as big as the internet. Like, I mean, it's like every week, I follow some AI accounts on Twitter, and like there's just new breakthroughs. Like AI can now write code that's almost bug free and almost ready to use just straight out of the gate. So I don't know. I have two daughters, and I just tell them, like, the world you guys are growing up in is going to be completely different from the world I grew up in. Like they just learned to drive, right? But I told them, in a few years you won't need to drive, right? Everything will be driven by AI, right? So I mean, yeah. So I'll just stop there.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I also remember that Dynadot has a auction of .ai domains that is running very, very hot and popular. I think the AI trend is inevitable. I think it's very, very big. And maybe that would inspire a lot of our domain investors to pick up new domains. I like to call domain investors profit investor because like venture investors invest in ventures, venture investors invest in holy babies and which is our like founders that haven't started, and then profit investors I like to call it is that they figure out the direction and says founders gonna emerge there, ideas and business are gonna emerge there, and then they are there before everyone else. So yeah, anyone last questions before we end this Namefi space? How time flies. Any other questions or comments, suggestions from the from the audience? Go ahead, Anita.
Hey, hi, Victor. Hi, Todd. How are you guys doing? My question is to Todd actually, because yeah, I'm good. So Dynadot is actually one of the most. Okay. Dynadot is one of the most innovative platforms for domains right now. So it's really nice to see that, they're going ahead and tying up with you and, bringing in new things. But one of the things that popped up into my mind when you said, what would you see as a feature is like, if you see Dynadot, it's so easy to list on Afternic, Sedo, and it's actually the best tool for domain management. So it would be really nice. I don't know whether Namefi is having an actual marketplace, but if that could also be like listed on OpenSea kind of a thing, where our domain shows that it's listed on OpenSea too, or wherever this one is. So that's the suggestion that I wanted to make. And of course, Todd knows that we're all waiting for him to bring us an Afternic like marketplace for just premium names. So.
Thank you very much, Anita. I think we should chat. I'll DM you. Look forward to your feedback and suggestions. You can actually list Namefi tokenized domains on OpenSea, and then that includes our domain from Dynadot today. And then we're working on improving our user experience, like Todd says about control panels to make it easier and more obvious that this domain is listed on OpenSea, and then you can make an offer or you can just buy them directly. Like we're trying to streamline that interface. What's good about Web3 is that because everything's open and interoperable, we can build and without worrying that the API will change, much less than the platform's existing ones. So thanks for your suggestions, and it seems like you're right there in the kind of users that we want to borrow wisdom from, because you know both Web3 and Web2. So definitely. I also want to give a shout out to Dynadot. I think you support a lot better in terms of supporting Afternic integration and stuff, right?
Yes, we have a full integration with both Afternic and Sedo. And our integration is the direct method. So you can actually list domains for sale onto those networks directly from your Dynadot account.
Yeah, we want to build Web3 version of that, and inspired by you guys.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's what I was suggesting, because it's actually easier to list on Afternic via Dynadot than via GoDaddy, So
Yeah, that's why we need to be there. This is like the good and bad about this space is that there's a lot of competition. I personally love competition in free market. I think it's a noble thing to provide with people with other free options. And as long as we do good, we should be rewarded by your patronage, your businesses. So thank you for your suggestion, Anita. I think Name Maxi has these questions raised. I know that we're at time, but I would love to honor that. And then that is our last question before we call it a day. So go ahead, Name Maxi.
Yeah. So I joined a bit late, but well, actually, I didn't have a question, but I just want to say that Dynadot has a lot of features. So if you haven't used it, go in and really take a look. They have a ton of features. They are not like GoDaddy or Sav. It's really extremely feature rich. I would say that as a feedback, maybe the appraisal needs a bit of tweaking. It tends to go quite high. But yeah, being in the space myself, I know that is a bit difficult. And to answer Anita, you can actually list Namefi domains on NameMaxi and also OpenSea at the same time. So if that's something that you want to check out.
Sounds great. You want to respond, Todd?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Namex. I appreciate those kind words. And we do have a lot of features on our site. We have like a watch list where we'll watch any domain for you. Like if it becomes registered, if it becomes unregistered, we'll send you an email. The domain appraisal, you are correct. We just launched that this year, so we're still trying to optimize it. And I did get that same feedback from another customer that certain domains are appraised a little too high. So we will work on that. And I think on the appraisal page, there is a feedback form. So if you see something that's not appraised correctly, you can send the feedback directly on that page and the engineers will see it.
Yep. Thanks, Dynadot. Thanks, Todd. Time flies. Thanks, everyone. As always, this is another Namefi Twitter space. And if you're interested in how we can monetize your domains next week, same time, I need to check, but next week, same time, it's time we will talk about how we can use decentralized. Follow Namefi, the account, follow Dynadot, follow Todd if you think this is an interesting conversation and you want to see more. By the way, Todd's pledge to be your customer support, which inspired me to be your customer support, right? So follow us, and then follow anyone who has spoke you feel inspiring. Thanks for joining and being with us in another Namefi Twitter space. Hopefully see you next time. And if I may, I will share the link of next Twitter space and then play our Namefi song, authored by our best friend Hedgehog. And thank you, Todd. Thank you, Dynadot Sally.
Thank you, Victor. Really enjoyed the space. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I finally
found the link for next space. Sorry. So go ahead and check it out. Set the reminder. Look forward to meet you next time. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Dynadot and Sally. Bye.